Hello, and welcome back to the Top 100 Horror Movies Review Series. I'm going based off of the Top 100 Horror Movies as chosen by Fangoria readers. I have a scratch-off poster. The link for it will be in the description. I'm not sponsored by Fangoria, I just think it's a cool poster. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Today's movie is Night of the Living Dead from 1968. It is number 9 on the list. I just got finished watching it. And so, yeah, let's just get right into the story. So the spoiler-free story, I'll be getting into spoilers later, is people defend themselves in a house against corpses risen from the grave. That's just the basic synopsis, and now I will be getting into spoilers, so this is your spoiler warning. Cool. The movie starts with a girl and her brother visiting the grave of their father, who died before this movie started. They go to put an ornament on his grave, and they get attacked by a ghoulish man, if you will. The brother's sort of teasing the sister, like, "Oh yeah, you were always scared of the graveyard. They're coming for you, Barbara." And so he runs off, and so Barbara is walking back to the car. Barbara's the main character in the beginning-ish. So she's walking back to the car, and then a man comes up and grabs her. So her brother comes running back after she starts screaming and gets the man off of her and starts fighting him. But the man throws him down onto the ground, where he hits his head on a tombstone and gets knocked out. Barbara runs back to the car and drives away, but she hits a tree, and so she gets out of the car and starts running, sees a house, and runs into the house. The man chasing her all the way. Well, I say chasing her, he's hobbling after her, because the living dead are really slow due to them being reanimated corpses. So she's in the house, she's walking around the house, looking around just to see what's there. She grabs a knife for protection. She goes upstairs and sees a dead and decaying body. And so she's freaked out, goes back downstairs. And then a man comes in a truck, and she lets him in, and so then it's the two of them there. So he starts boarding up the house. She's upset because she saw the dead body upstairs, and she watched her brother die, but she's trying to convince herself that he didn't actually die. So Ben, that's the man's name that came, he tries to calm her down, and she does get calmed down, mostly. And then he starts talking to her about his situation and why he's here. So he was at a diner, and then the diner got swarmed by the living dead, and he escaped with a truck that he found. But the truck's almost out of gas, so he pulled in here real quick because he saw that there was a gas station out by the shed, but it needs a key. And then she starts telling him about, like, "Oh yeah, I was at the graveyard with my brother for our father." And then she starts freaking out, and he's like, "Calm down." And she's inconsolable, and she just gets louder and louder. And so he keeps telling her to calm down. She won't calm down. She tries to smack him, but he grabs her hand and then hits her back, knocking her out in one punch. She's out, he's boarding up the house, and then two people come up from the cellar. And so he's talking to them like, "You heard her screaming, why didn't you come up earlier?" And then one of the guys, the older guy, is like, the cellar's the safest place, and he keeps insisting throughout the movie, the cellar's the safest place, we have to stay in the cellar, if we stay up here, we'll die. There are too many entrances up here, too many ways for the living dead to get in, so we have to be in the cellar, we have to stay in the cellar. And then the younger guy, whose name is Tom, I believe, is like, well, we could stay in the cellar, and we could be boarded up, but if the living dead do get in here, then there's no escape. Like, there's only that one entrance, that one door into the cellar, and so we can't get out. So eventually, the older guy gets convinced, okay, we can stay up here, I guess. But he only gets fully convinced after he goes back down into the cellar. And so it's him, his wife, his daughter, and then the younger guy, Tom, and his wife. And so it's the 5 of them in the cellar, and then the 2 people upstairs. Barbara wakes up eventually. Tom gets his wife, Judy, out of the cellar, and is like, okay, old man, you can go back in the cellar if you want. We're staying up here, we're gonna fight. And so the old man goes back into the cellar to his wife and daughter, and then he's like, yeah, man, they're just crazy up there. Like, they don't have the ball knowledge. They don't know that the cellar is the ultimate play here. And his wife is like, well, do you know when this will be over? And he's like, nah, we don't know when this is gonna be over. The radio that they have up there said, she's like, wait, there's a radio? He's like, well, yeah, but like, we don't need it. Like, we'll be safe down here. And there's like nothing in the cellar. She's like, dude, nah. Like, there's no way you're being serious right now, which is basically then audience's reaction, or at least what the audience's reaction should be, which is like, nah, there's no way this guy is serious right now. Because throughout the entire movie, he's just causing conflict with the characters. Like, that's his entire role in the movie. It's just, like, to be an antagonistic force. Like, a secondary antagonistic force. Like, an antagonist within the protagonists. But then his wife convinces him that, dude, we should just go upstairs. Like, our daughter can't move, but people can watch her in shifts. Like, it's not that deep. And so everyone's upstairs in the main house area. They organize, they get together a plan, and so Ben and Tom go out to the truck to see if they can get the gas pump unlocked. And so while they're out there, the older guy, I don't remember his name, is up at the 2nd floor throwing Molotov cocktails. He throws 4 of them because the living dead are scared of fire. So he starts some fires in the yard area pretty close to the truck, which I think is pretty dangerous, but nothing happened. So Ben and Tom get to the truck, and then Tom's wife, Judy, is like, no, I can't sit by and watch this happen. I'm going to go after them. She runs outside to be with Tom, and so then it's the 3 of them out there in the truck, and they drive over to the shed to the gas pump. The key that they had didn't work, so Ben blasts the lock off with a shotgun. Ben has a torch this entire time to fend off the living dead. I'm intentionally not trying to use the term zombie, since they didn't use the term zombie. They don't actually use anything, they just refer to the living dead as them, or like the people outside. But yeah, so Ben has a torch to fend off the living dead, and so he sets the torch down, goes to get the gas pump, but the gas is flowing everywhere, and so there's like a trail of it, and it lands on the torch and lands on the bed of the truck. And so Judy stays in the truck, Tom's out trying to help with the gas, and then Tom has the smart idea, like, oh, wait, if there's all this fire, we should get away from the gas pump. And so he gets in the truck, drives a safe distance away, and gets out of the truck. And he's telling Judy, like, come on, get out of the truck. But her jacket gets stuck, and so he goes back in to help her, and then the truck blows up. And then Ben is just watching, just trying to keep the flames died down, so that the gas pump doesn't explode. So he runs back to the house after getting the gas pump situated. The old man saw, well, I'm saying old man, he's probably like mid-40s, early 50s maybe. So the older man is watching all of this happen, and so he gets everyone down into the cellar, and then Ben goes up to the door, which the old guy locked, and he's like, open the door. And then the old guy is standing at the cellar door, just watching him, like, and so Ben breaks in the door, and then beats the older guy up because he wouldn't let him in. He boards back up the door before beating up the old guy, so that the living dead don't get in. At 3 o'clock a.m., a TV broadcast is coming on, and it's listing like safe zones. But then either the living dead cut the electricity or a fuse gets blown out. And so they're trying to like figure out what's going on, but they stand too close to the windows and doors. So the living dead reach in and grab them. They grab the wife and they grab the man. Barbara, who's been essentially catatonic this entire time because she's been in shock, finally essentially wakes up and helps the woman get away, but then she also gets grabbed, so Ben is going over to help her, and then while Ben is helping, the old guy grabs Ben's gun that he put on the ground, and then after Ben gets that whole situation organized, he goes over and grabs the gun back from the old man. They have like a little tussle, grabs the gun back and shoots him in the stomach. And so the old guy hobbles down into the cellar. Earlier in the movie, it is mentioned that the old guy and his wife's daughter was bitten by by one of the living dead. And so they didn't realize that, like, getting bitten by one of the creatures turns you into a creature once you had fully died. So the daughter fully dies, and then the old guy hobbles back into the cellar. The daughter gets up and bites his arm off and essentially kills him. And so the wife, after Barbara helped free her from the living dead, went down into the cellar, sees that the old guy had died, and then she sees the daughter, and the daughter's coming toward her, trying to grab at her, and then she's like backing away, like, no, you don't want to do this, it's mom, remember? And then the daughter doesn't remember because they're brainless, essentially. So she grabs a trowel off the wall and stabs the mother multiple times with the trowel, killing her. So Ben and Barbara are upstairs, but the door gets broken in, and Barbara sees her brother, who died in the beginning, has come back as a living dead. And she's like, "Hey, it's my brother! Save me, help me!" And then he grabs her and turns her into the swarm, and then they eat her, not shown on the screen. But then Ben is like, that sucks. I'm gonna go to the cellar. So he heads towards the cellar, but then the daughter comes up from the cellar, and she's like coming toward him, but like it's a small child, so he just throws her. And then he goes down into the cellar, locks himself in the cellar, and then he sees the 2 dead people down there. Then the old guy, living dead old guy, sits up, and I don't think he fully gets the chance to stand up. I don't remember exactly. But then Ben blasts him in the head like 3 times. And then the wife over on another wall with the trowel in her doesn't move. He's like, this is gonna get bad, and so he shoots her as well. And then that's basically the end of it for that night. And then we cut to morning, and the sheriff of the town that they're in is going to search the house. They're blasting the living dead that are just walking around. And so Ben hears the police siren. He carefully unlodges or unlocks the cellar door, goes out, has his gun pointed, like just for safety, and looks out the window. And one of the policemen is like, "Oh, look, there's something in the house." And then that's the end of the movie, with Ben getting shot in the head. So yeah, that was the story of the movie. I thought it was pretty cool. Gonna get into some notes. So everything that is told about the living dead and like why they're around is told through the television screen, through like a news channel, which I think is pretty cool. So it explains that like there was a space satellite that got some sort of radiation, so NASA took it down, but they think the radiation has traveled to Earth, and that's why the living dead are occurring. Because the radiation has reactivated their brain, so unburied dead people are coming back to life and are starting to attack everyone. And then later on in the night, they come to the realization that the only way to kill them is to shoot them in the head, or to cause severe damage to the brain because of the radiation reactivation. So yeah, I just thought the way that everything was told was really cool through the news channel, and like we find it out throughout the movie as the characters find it out. And then the other note I have, I mentioned each of these in the story, but Ben is a firm believer in equal rights, equal fights. Okay, so Ben, do you have a problem with fighting anyone? Like, is there, like, who will you fight?
Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too.
I think this movie was really good. The pros are definitely makeup and effects. The blood, well, it's not super realistic, but it was the 60s in black and white, so it was, like, pretty good. The acting was really good, and the writing was really good. I think the way that Barbara played her character, as it was written, was really well done, because she was, like, very clearly in shock and going just a little bit crazy throughout, or basically since the start of the movie. She's been in a trance the entire time and essentially spouting nonsense. So I think the way the actress played that was really cool and really good. And then, yeah, the writing was just really good. I thought it was a really compelling story, and the dialogue was really smooth and nice. I honestly can't say anything bad about this movie. So, content warnings, as I mentioned, there's violence against women. The living dead eat people. They hunger for flesh. So, there's a scene of them going into the burnt car that exploded with Tom and Judy, and going through and picking out limbs and organs and stuff and eating them. So it's a pretty gory movie, but it is all in black and white. So, like, it's not super realistic blood, but the organs look pretty realistic, and like there still is quite a bit of like blood. There is female nudity from behind and from the chest up. So there is one clear scene of breasts and 2 scenes from behind of a fully naked woman. Honestly, this could be someone's first horror movie. Like, that wouldn't be a horrible idea, because there's not any language. It's black and white, so the gore isn't super gory, I guess. And then, like, there's not much nudity if you're sensitive to that. It's mainly just, like, one or 2 second shot. So, yeah, this could definitely be someone's first horror movie. I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. Again, I don't have anything bad to say about it. And I'm putting it at number 6. So that is currently between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Alien. So my full ranking will be in the description. And so yeah, I'm going to do the scratch off now, but that's all for the review section. So see you in the next one. Okay, so we're scratching off Night of the Living Dead. Just real quick to go through the movies, we have Halloween 1978, The Thing 1982, The Exorcist 1973, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, Alien 1979, The Shining 1980, Scream 1996, and now we have Night of the Living Dead from 1968. So let's just get right into it. So we have the title here, and then one of the Living Dead. Okay, I think that is it. So we still have the title and the Living Dead, and now we have the moon behind the head of the Living Dead, which I think is probably a reference to space, which is in turn a reference to the satellite that crashed down with the radiation and caused the Living Dead virus. So yeah, next is Jaws. So that video should be out in a couple days, and yeah, thanks for watching.